Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Can I get a Haribo?
Haribo!
Haribo! We're also in a new studio. How did that happen? Does anyone know?
We prayed to Lord Shiva.
We prayed to Lord Shiva.
Right? Back
That's
original
true.
over there.
Yeah, we went to India and we were in what was the place?
Jagannath Gardens.
Jagannath Gardens in Mayapur. And there was a special shrine that you can go to and you tie a rock to a tree and you make a prayer to Lord Shiva. And me and Gopal went to said tree.
We could have asked for anything.
Yeah, we could have asked.
And we decided to ask for this. We could have had a mansion in the Beverly Hills.
What did we actually ask for?
World peace. Solve world hunger. We didn't ask for any of those things. We asked for the Welsh Yogi Podcast.
Yeah, something like 1 million downloads.
Views or something.
We was asking for 1 million views.
But we want
So if there's
1,000
still-
subscribers, isn't it? That's our milestone.
1,000
Milestone.
subscribers for now would be great.
And today's podcast, just before we get into it, we managed to speak to Tarakanatha Prabhu. And we went through a report of what we achieved last year as a community, but also he really went into the dynamics of spiritual life, using this world in a spiritual way compared to what some people might misunderstand as spiritual life being running off to the Himalayas or whatever. And he also went into many other things about the science of spirituality and talking about, what was the other thing? There's many things like loneliness and...
I guess just watch it and find out.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a fascinating conversation, as it always is. Prema?
Let's roll the intro.
Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Here we are in the new studio. And so Tarakanatha Prabhu, maybe we'll go through a little bit about what we did last year and talk about a few things.
Yeah, sure, like an end-of-term report.
Yeah.
Or maybe mention something about going forward as well. Maybe, I don't know if we've got time for that, but...
Well, that's off the top of my head, is because we just had Vishwambar arrive today, and he was just over with the new Gornitai deities.
I just come out of a meeting with him now, yeah, we just kind of...
What did he think
Kind of
when
the
you saw
structure. He's an artist. He loves his critiques. Yeah, they're beautiful.
The most beautiful deities in the world.
I know, but he's an artist. You got to look through, and there's another artist doing the work. He's an artist. You can't put two artists in the same room. You can't put two artists in the same planet. You can't. It's not their ways. They're a strange species. They're artistic people. I like that. You know, they don't buy into other people's concepts, or if they do it, I would do it this. Yeah. But to us laypersons, no, you think they're beautiful, but the size is this, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. They are. I had a Kandi Prabhu when he was there. He was saying these are the best deities ever. This one is going to, even to pretend that's going to go. They're really special. I say that. All temples say that. They say these like their own children. Beauty in the eye of the beholder and things. But they're really special. The pose that they're in, they dancing pose. They're not like a static, straight and just arms up in the air. They're really majestic. The features are sweet and beautiful. Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd get here? Was this the goal when you started at opening a center in Swansea? And what did you think? Okay, one day I want a beautiful, massive temple in Cardiff with a. Did you ever?
It was just like a concept. Swansea, then open a centre. No, I didn't imagine it was going to be like this. Absolutely not on this grandiose, in this magnitude. Definitely not. But I always envisaged Swansea, Cardiff, and always land in between. And that's still that's been a bit long time getting there. But there's been a lot of work with fantastic support from devotees, community devotees, over and that's what's what Devan Rita Maharaj, I always stuck in we're organically grown. It's all local people, majority. We have some devotees out from outside, but it's always the homegrown devotees, as I say. Homegrown tomatoes are the sweetest, and because they get in that mood when you come, then they understand the mood that you develop in. Because Krishna consciousness is broad and wide, it's not just... Don't think your way of thinking is Krishna consciousness is all Krishna consciousness. It's one way. Krishna is multifaceted. So people will get through the basics of Krishna consciousness is there, but the mood in which how you practice. And so we got a Welsh way, isn't it? And lots of people say, this is the Welsh way. We have the Welsh humour. And like I say, you can take the boy out of the valley, but you can't take the valley out of the boy. You got a good sense of humour. I would have strangled you before now. You have to have a good sense of humour to hang around me, don't you?
Yeah, that's interesting. So different temples, different communities have different...
They all have the different modes, of course. It's like, it's just, it's like different temples, different cultures, different, kind of psychology. But it's all Krishna conscious. It doesn't make it any less... You can't say that, our way, our style of Krishna consciousness is you got to do it like you see sometimes... that's the problem sometimes when devotees come from the outside of other yatras or from around the world. They kind of superimpose. Then, we've did it in this side of the world. You can't just superimpose it.
Well, in New Zealand they do this.
Yeah, or New Zealand. Or in our temple we'll do that. And that's fine. That's great for you. It might work in your temple, but it might not work in another temple. You can't just superimpose on it. You have to take into account the culture, the peoples, the mentality. There's so many different psychophysical natures. There's so much.
So it's, because we might go through a couple of reports, maybe celebrate some of the achievements of last year. But as you were talking, I was thinking, if you're saying different moods and different communities, but it's all Krishna conscious, it's all Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Well, if someone came up to you and said, "What's Krishna consciousness?"
The basics are there, but I'm the mood of our player. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. You chant Hare Krishna. There's, how to practice Krishna, but there's the mood in which you practice in. Like, we've always, one of our strengths, and a lot of devotees says, is that we have that family mood. And that's the challenge as we grow, to keep that family kind of, that camaraderie. Like Devan Rita says, he says, it's kind of, you don't get that in a lot of temples, that devotee care that we do.
How are you going to keep that?
That's the challenge as we grow, because you see bigger temples, and you can get lost in them, because families are generally small. You don't have like 200 in a family, do you? You don't, like, less maybe if you're an Indian family or something. It's like how many can you get in the car, how many can you get in the 2 up, 2 down, isn't it? But families are generally small. So when you got like 30, 40, 50 devotees, okay, that's like a big family. Because your family have relatives like that. You have your family, the brothers, the sisters, and they have the uncles and the aunts and the grandparents. So they have a family. But as you grow, it's how do you keep that kind of family? You see how Goswami's roots, and Goswami would go around Vrindavan asking, inquiring about the family. How are you? How are you doing? Inquiring about their health. And sometimes, because if you're in a bigger temple or a bigger, you can lose that sometimes. That's what I'm saying. You can lose. You're so busy. You get too busy, then you can be busy. You get caught up in our own little, and not be. It's much easier in a smaller temple to do that. That's all.
Sanat Goswami's an interesting example, isn't it? Because he used to go around all of Vrindavan.
Just inquiring how's your mother, how's your
daughter
married? Yeah, of course. And that's because it's real. Sometimes we're all spiritual and aloof. We're too spiritual for our own good somehow, because we're not quite sure what spiritual life is. It is what it is, not what we think it is. So that's what studying Srila Prabhupada's books, associating with devotees, we begin to learn what actually Krishna consciousness is. And I'm sure we all come to Krishna consciousness with their own conceived idea of what spiritual life is. Everyone's got their own conceived idea. I think this is spiritual.
I remember the first time, I guess it doesn't matter. I think it was Deva Amrita Swami, who's obviously like a great personality,
very charismatic.
I was in Govinda's, and I was just coming out of the temple room, and he was coming out of the toilet. I remember thinking, like, he uses the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Because he got this. They don't do things we do, but he
uses the bathroom like everyone else.
I remember you saying that the first time I went to see it was in Chaitanya College. I didn't know what I was even doing there. I can't even think it was old Bindu, God rest his soul, when he was buzzed at the time, I know we ended up in Chaitanya College, and I remember the first time I seen Prabhupada, and he had a watch on. And it was one of what's this? But there was just a thought in my. If you're all spiritual and the spiritual is diametrically aloof from material, what are you doing with the watch? Why are you concerned about what time is doing to you? You know? It's like, you're supposed to be spiritual, but that's we think it's like diametrically opposed. So spiritual in material life is struggling, suffering. We're all struggling with time. We're getting old, and what's anything. So that's a Buddhistic type of thing. So it's nothing there, because material life is struggling and suffering. Therefore, spiritual must be the opposite. So therefore, there's nothing, and that's what we kind of.
Yeah, I remember here. I think it was Chasing Rhinos with the Swami when Shamasunda, he was telling when Prabhupada found out his wife had died. And Prabhupada's, you don't get more self-realized than Srila Prabhupada, and he's a sannyasi, which is, they've sort of renounced all of their family life. And when he heard his wife died, he was started to cry. So you think like, if someone's self-realized, they would be cold.
It's like
detached.
a cold detachment.
But actually their heart becomes more soft. They care more than if they were.
That's a common thing. Because desire is a cause of suffering. Therefore, you kill desire. There's a Buddhistic, Voidistic, no desire. But of course, you can have empathy. Someone said, it's I'm not saying anything how Prabhupada was thinking, but they're naturally soft-hearted and compassionate and empathy.
Because that's another. We could go through some of these, because someone could ask the question, why, you're meant to be spiritual and self-satisfied. Atmarama, get you all your pleasures from the self. So why have these targets and strive to increase stuff? And if you scroll down, Prema, so we can see, we'll share some of these slides on the video also. But like completed the first stage of construction for Ty Krishna. That's something that happened this year. Someone could say, well, why do you even bother building a big temple? Why can't you just live under a tree and be happy? Why do you have to have a big temple with lifts and staircases and receptions and cafes?
Because it's in the mood of giving to it. We're not Salvationists. Salvationists mean, for ourselves. I certainly don't need the headache of a 5 million project. My hair's falling out, my teeth are falling. It's aging. I got a kidney on, eBay set to raise funds. Also, for ourselves, we can sit under a tree. The Goswamis, you see these. You can see, because that's the thing. It boils down to, again, what's your conception of what we think spiritual life is? You can sit under a tree and be spiritual. You can be destitute and be spiritual. You can also be rich and spiritual. It's fine, but we kind of have this concept that material things means just because you got material things doesn't make you material, or doesn't make you spiritual. You can have material things and still be spiritual. It's what you use the material things for. So for ourselves we don't need it, but it's in that mood, I say, of and that's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood. That's why he came down, is to give Krishna consciousness to others. So this facility is we being innovative to create something which people have an opportunity to engage in devotional service, to find the actual purpose of life, the perfection of life. And that's all it's for. And it's one of Rupa Goswami's 64 angas of devotional service. It says you use your opulence as your devotion. So you can use opulence. It's for Krishna. It should be. We use opulence. People, we live in so much opulence ourselves, but God, why does He want opulence? That's definitely a Western. Most people think like that in the Western world about God. If He's a God and He can take care of Himself, what do you want anything from me for? The answer is He doesn't. So it's in our benefit, because the more you give Him, the more He's pleased with that. Then the more you'll advance, because that's the perfection of life, is how to please God. And you can be in different religions. Srila Prabhupada said it many times. You can be in a different religion, but the purpose of that religion is to bring you closer to God. So that's how and then you can have many religions, but if that religion doesn't bring you closer to God, then it's not a real religion. So that's why we place so much importance on understanding knowledge, Bhagavad Gita basics. At least you got something to compare, and you know what basic religion is about. That's why everyone should read, the Bhagavad Gita. That's why Prabhupada placed so much importance on distributing books.
We had 65,000 books distributed.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Which is insane. That's a huge number.
For us, I mean, It is an insane number. It's
The whole UK, we've increased the book distribution for 2025 is, I think, 15% more than the previous year. And a lot of it's just nice to see it's a new spiritual age is just growing and growing.
we said this on you mentioned as well when we was in Swansea. I don't know, was it last or the night before? That you can the book. It probably said the book distribution is the heart. It's like the heart pumps the blood around the body, and that's what the pulse is. So if you want to, you gauge, you take the pulse of the body, then you can gauge: is our body strong? Is it healthy? So that's from the pulse. So the pulse of a then it's concentrated, or is your book distribution, or you're being distributing Krishna consciousness. If you're doing if you've got a strong book distribution, a strong preaching ethic, that's a good pulse. That's a good reading. It's a good metric to measure that you're in a healthy condition. Your yatra, your household, yourself, whatever it is, you're in a strong spiritual healthy condition. Because that's what pumps the life from.
And all revolutions as well in the past, they've started with like a little manifesto, or was it even the American Revolution, or so they start with like someone writing something down, and then it gets distributed widely. So this is a spiritual revolution. So this year was our biggest Rath Yatra festival. This is every year that's also increasing. So have we got the date for Rath Yatra?
Yes, the 8th of August.
So that was a huge, wonderful festival.
And year on year, when we started, we think it was either the first one or the second one, and we still have. I think his name is Brian. He's the helps with the traffic and helps. And he came up to me, and we had this. This is the chariot is like 40 the Rath cart, and you got the what do you call it? Like the tower. He goes up. He runs
the canopy type.
The canopy thing, yes. And he's looking at this cart and looking at the ropes on the ground, and he looks around and there's like 10 of us there.
There's always no one there.
There's no one there. And he says, are you going to be able to move this?
If anyone's listening, get there earlier.
Yeah. He says, are you going to be able to move this? He said, you're not going to be able to move it. When we're supposed to pull it around. And he said, it's not going to happen, is it? But then miraculously, once we start moving, because the whole cart is like what they call it, hydraulics, and what it is designed, you can 8-10 people can pull that because it's balanced.
Sometimes you pull it, like you hear in Rath Yatra in Peru, when Lord Chaitanya was there, he'd dance, and then for some reason the cart would stop and start again. It was almost like Jagannath had his own will. Yeah. So similarly in Cardiff, you see sometimes you pull and you try and pull it doesn't move. It's like, wow, But my first Rath Yatra, I was inside the cart with the Tikshu.
Was it?
Yeah. And he says he's got some brakes there. He puts on the brakes. You can't move it. So a little peek behind the curtain.
But it shows now that we're there. We got. We have got
such a special day.
It's a wonderful way to kind of introduce the culture. It's to everyone, and that's the mood of Jagannath. He's Lord of the universe. He's not Lord of the Hindus or Lord of the Christians and Lord of the Jews. He's Lord of the universe. So Krishna is going for just going out giving darshan and create, and it's wonderful. Then but it says just by pulling the cart, just by seeing the cart, it creates samskars. It means like impressions. And then when they go into the heart and they're there, they say, so everything material goes in our minds. It creates material impressions, but these are spiritual. Pulling the cart, chanting Hare Krishna, distributing book. These are all spiritual samskars or impressions which go into the consciousness. So that when that goes into the consciousness, that's what is Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Lord Chaitanya said. That cleanses the consciousness. So it's just a matter of consciousness. That's what it is. So the material energy is the material energy. Like you said, why are we opening all this? But it's how you use it and why you're using it for. And that'll depend upon your consciousness. And your consciousness will depend upon your activities, how you're acting, what you do. So if you were just in the material world looking out to enjoy just for myself, it's all about me. And I don't care what anyone says, I'm going to, if it feels good, I'm going to do it. That's material consciousness. That's nothing to do with spiritual life. But when you come to and understand, that's what Bhagavad Gita teaches, when, you start doing spiritual activities, you'll begin to cleanse the consciousness. You begin to, as what the Buddhists say, open your spiritual eye, the eye of knowledge. and you begin to have a different perspective on things. There's more than meets the eyes. This is not the reality what we are seeing. There's more. There's more, and that's basic Bhagavad Gita. There's a difference between the body and the self. So we're all, there's more. There's a spiritual dimension which we can't see because of our material consciousness. It's just a matter of consciousness. Because you see with your consciousness, you don't see with the eyes, isn't it? You see through the eyes. It's like you put glasses on. You don't see with the glasses. You see through the glasses. So you're seeing through the eyes. So who's seeing? Who's seeing? There's nothing your eyes are not seeing. So there's something deeper. And that's your consciousness. But that's basic. And this is what spiritual knowledge means. You begin to awaken to that and see that. Then you begin to see how you fit in the world. Then you can see how entangling it is. Then you can see how to disentangle. And that's what Bhagavad Gita. There's your roadmap or your plan for happiness. Otherwise, you're going to follow the material plan for happiness, is what your government gives you or your family give you. But you're going to have to follow someone's going to tell you this is how do I become happy. Someone's going to have to tell you. And the education system will say something. You go to school, you go through study for 20 years, get your degree, and then you get a job, and then you get lots of money, and you become happy. Well, that doesn't happen. It doesn't work. So we think the more wealth we get, the more, because we're looking through, following the roadmap, which, the material roadmap to happiness, we think it's a direct correlation between the more material things I have, whether it's family, friends, money, car, the happier I will be, to an internal happiness. But it's not a direct, the more material things you have, it doesn't make you more happier. It's not a direct correlation. You see so many people that have so much wealth, but they're not happy. And we all say this somewhere. And conversely, you see so many people that are not so wealthy, but they seem a lot happier. But it's still not a complete happiness. You may have a happy wife, happy life, or you may have a nice family, nice car, but there's still not a deep satisfaction. There's still not that deep spiritual happiness, that deep satisfaction which we're looking for. Because that's the problem with material happiness. First of all, there's not a correlation between material things and happiness. And secondly, even if you say I got it, it's still not that. There's not that satisfaction because we're always dissatisfied. There's always a deeper that's why we always feel that there's got to be more. There's got to be more. And the third way for material life is temporary. You might have it today, but it'll be gone tomorrow. And then there's anxiety, trying to hold on to it, trying to keep to it. It's the rich that have all the, the guard dogs and the moats and the crocodiles to keep everyone out of their premises because they don't, especially as poor people, especially the Hare Krishnas coming knocking your door to sell you a book. But so that's the problem with material happiness. And so then. We have to learn to become satisfied. So we always want more. So then, the flip side of that is then it's like the Buddhistic idea or the voidist where I'll have nothing. Kill desire. But I mean, if you're not going to be satisfied with what you got, are you going to be satisfied with nothing? I mean, if we never started with right, I don't want nothing. It's like it's a kickback from, it's the flip side. It's the opposite side of the coin. Heads and tails, attachment and aversion. So you have nothing, but are you going to be satisfied? So the perfection of
well, they'd say, well, those things always cause misery.
They do. So there's not happiness. We're looking for the deeper happiness. That's what we're looking for on the deepest. So the happiness, like the Buddhistic or the voidist, is a relief from distress. It's not actual happiness because we don't experience spiritual happiness. At least not like that. But it is a formula, and that's called Bhakti Yoga, where you can experience God as a person. And you use your senses. You don't just stop everything. You can use material things, but to connect to God. And that's what yoga means. That's the connection. So you can use the easiest and simplest way to connect is through chanting, because anyone can do that anytime, any place, anywhere. But then in Bhagavad Gita, it's called the art of work. Krishna describes how do you connect your whole life. How do you connect your work, your live, everything? How do we do that? That's called Bhakti Yoga, and it's a science. And you can measure it. And this is what Lord Chaitanya come down. This is what he gave. This is what he instructed the 6 Goswamis to write literatures on this. This is what Srila Prabhupada is based all his teachings on the Goswamis, and this is what he's come to give us. This is a science. This is a whole science, and you can check. It's not just a faith system where you just believe. I believe, brother, and that's all you need to do. It's good to have a belief, but everyone has a belief. I was speaking to an atheist on the street, and he said, I believe in atheism. And I said, well, that's a belief. He said, no, it's not. I said, when you don't believe in it? Then he was scared. So I said, you don't believe it works? And he just walked off. It's a belief. You're saying, that's what you... So it's a misconception where you spiritual people, or so you think, you're godly people, you're religious people in your church, your temple or your mosque, you've just got faith. But us in the secular world, we have knowledge. No, you don't. That's faith. It's all based on faith. Do you want to see his face when I said it? Yeah, you have a belief. I said, atheism is a belief. No, it's not. I said, so you don't believe in it then? He's like...
I think you said Bhakti, Krishna consciousness is much more of a science as rather than...
Yes.
Because there's a process to verify whether your belief is true or not. We could say, well, if you think there's a God, is there a soul? Is there a God? Is God Krishna? Okay, here's the process. You practice it.
Yes.
Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. Krishna. Many people in the past have attained the result and they've got it. So we can prove, we have a method by which to prove Krishna consciousness is true. But if you're an atheist, could you prove to me that what you... No, well, they can't. It's just like a belief that you got to hope is true. Well, we at least we're giving a process to verify what you believe. Isn't it? It's so much more scientific than...
Well, so they come back to the creation. Science says the creation has come from a big bang. They use, what was it? From a microdot. It's something that's infinitely dense and infinitely... And then it explodes from there. Why this all happens and where this dot actually comes from, no one knows. There's faith. You can't prove it. So you talk about. So when you come to creation, it's faith. They say, "Oh, your religion is just all fairy tales." Well, so is that. To say something that something come from nothing is an infinite, which we don't experience anywhere in our lives, which is infinitely dense, and what is it? And it infinitely expands. It's infinitely small and infinitely big, and then it explodes, and then you have this whole, creation comes in, which is in a perfect working mechanism. Seasons come in cyclic succession, except in Wales where it just rains all the time. But it's, night follows day and week. It's a perfect.
Everything has a purpose.
It's right. So, but they say so. That's fairy tales. To say that it comes from nothing is more reasonable and a rational leap of faith. Because it's still faith, that there's something behind, there's an intelligence behind that. It's still faith. You believe there's not, we believe there is. There's more, but there's a more rational and logical leap of faith. So it's based then more, not just on blind, because it's blind atheism to say that, but it's more, like you said, it's more rational. So it's still a leap of faith initially, but it's based upon logic and reason. And in my mind, that's a more reasonable leap of faith. But they won't accept that. They says it's just on knowledge, but it's not. That is not being honest. That's not being straightforward. They can put that forward, Darwinian theory. They can put it as a theory and say this is what we believe. You can't say it's a fact. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's annoying. They just teach it in school.
I know, because the whole system is bought into that.
And it was my best subject. Yeah, all the sciences I did really well in evolution.
Yeah,
that was like, that's the only thing I was smart at.
That answers a lot of questions. Now that answers a lot of questions. Yeah, when we was going into schools, and you can see, and I was saying Darwinian theory is not. It's a theory, and that's all it is. And the teachers, you can see because they were, and the kids were all fascinated because they was wanted to hear more. The teacher was okay. Let's move on now. Let's go.
Don't get me started. Do you want to say anything back to Rupa before we go on to?
No, I was just.
I could see you lighten up a little bit when trying to write a few things.
It's just this idea of like not being able to recognize what's a spiritual thing and what's a material thing, and like when my practices are lower, it all seems material. But then when I am reading the Bhagavatam, you could see the spiritual thing. I just wonder, you have any things that you really need to do to like make sure that you're always in that place, like seeing.
What's the plan?
Like, how do I stick to that?
It's reading and chanting.
Give us a plan.
That's the plan that everyone can do initially. That's you got to chant. There's no question. That's really potent. If you want to see things as they are, that's the best method. Is Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam.
But life's too hectic. I don't have time to
Everyone
chant
got time. You got time to eat. You got time to sleep. You got time to watch the television. You got time to go here, go there. Then it's a matter of prioritizing your life. What you see important in life, and that'll be based upon your value system. What you value most. So if you understand that, there's more to life than just, well, what is life? Or what's the purpose of life? You have to ask that question. Because if you don't ask the question, you're not going to get the answer. It's just important, and this is what Bhagavad Gita is. It gives us, there is a purpose to life. According to Darwinian theory, there's no purpose. You just, what you come in, you have a survival of the fittest, and if you don't survive, you just get eaten, and that's like, is that a nice philosophy? Is that a nice philosophy to live your life by? The strongest survive, the fittest in the journey. That's what goes on. You can see that. So most people think, and they'll step on you to get above. That's not the spiritual society. You can, in days of yore, in the Vedic culture, it's based because you have a society, which is measuring everything material. So the whole value system is different. So but when you have a spiritual culture, which was the Vedic system, they have a different kind of worldview, and it's more important is your spiritual life because you got to die. Then where do you go? See, we try to fix death. That's what science will tell you. We'll fix death. We're going to fix this. Like they're going to go into the DNA and find a switch and then flick it, and then aging will stop, and that's done, and then you'll stop dying. So we're trying to avoid it. They say and what the Prabhupada say, that's like a post-dated check. What's a post-dated check worth? Nothing now. In the future, it might be worth something, it might not, but then that's what Prabhupada said. Well, give us a sign. If someone gives you a post-dated check for £1 million and you've got no money, well, give me £100 now. So that's what Prabhupada says. Just make a blade of grass, or just do some, make a little mosquito, just to give us a bit of, so we can have faith in you. But they don't. So that's what that value structure. But the Vedic culture doesn't try to. We got to die. But how then we preparing for that, and we fix that. We prepare it so you'll know where I'm going in my next life. But we're not taught that. So you have an education system that doesn't even. Why would they? Because they don't. Because you're taught that you're this body. Eat, drink, and be merry, because tomorrow you die. So why would I give time to chanting when I don't even believe that? So that's the challenge we've got. That's what Ty Krishna is all about. That's what all our efforts are about, is to show to people, no, you slow down. You have got another life. You're not. Only the body dies. This is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Boyhood, youth to old age. The body goes through so many changes. So who's experiencing all those changes? You're in the body of a boy, a young child, then you're in the body of a teenager, then you're in the body of, middle age, then you're old age, where I am now. I mean, red lights flashing, and then you die. So it's you who's experiencing, as a child, it's you who's experiencing middle age, it's you who's experiencing old age. It'll be you who experiences death. So a natural question is, who are you?
Yeah, and I was thinking about this the other day as well. I was thinking, if you are just the body and the cells change, and you're not this. So if I committed a crime 15 years ago, they can't just come and arrest me. Because I go, well, no, because I'm a different body than I was before.
Yeah, you can't charge me.
No one would buy that.
Yeah, I'm a different person. Yeah.
I'm completely changed. It's like, okay, sorry, son. You still got to do the time.
Yeah.
Because everyone just knows you're the same. It is the same. Like my mother doesn't be, oh yeah, you're the different being than when you were. This isn't my son anymore.
And this is ABCs, and that's why Prabhupada was so much importance on literature. I think Prema wanted to say something.
Oh no, I just wanted to say, can I use your phone to take some photos?
That's a bit deep and philosophical. It's above our heads.
So. Well, now, Prema, you've got to say something.
I don't know where my phone is.
Prema, go on.
I'm just loving it so far, to be honest. I think the fact that we've got like a whole setup for the podcast, and like just hearing Tarakanatha speak about just all these different avenues with which people can come to Krishna consciousness is really, really inspiring.
The first time I met Prema was at Rath Yatra. And that's just a unique person who comes up and says, I'd just like to join. What?
And we all looked at him and think, are you all there?
You're a saint or you're crazy.
Yeah, because that's rare. That's rare. You got that, yeah. Because some people, that's previous samskars. That's the samskars will be taught impressions, but obviously not from this life. So where does that come from? It comes from a previous life, and it makes more logical sense. Because if you're a bunch of chemicals, why would you be interested in spiritual life? If I'm just a bunch of chemicals, why do I want to thirst immortality?
You shouldn't even have free will.
Right, exactly.
If it's all just a chain reaction.
If you're just a bunch of chemicals, where does it come from? Where does these desires come from? Chemicals just don't have desires. So why is science answering that? They don't answer it. But they present, because they have a few things that work. Like we're using the technology now, and it's fantastic technology, but it's how you use it. We use it for spiritual topics, and you could use all this stuff. God knows what you could use it for all sorts of things, especially this world on the internet. And most of these setups it's probably pornography or something that that which is destroying people's minds and it's just destroying the fabric of society. And governments recognize this. The fabric of society is breaking down, but they don't know how to deal with it. Because they still look into they think the problem is material, and we'll fix it materially, economically, buy more, sell more, because we're in a difficult economic downturn, buy more, sell more, that's what they'll say, because they don't know any other way what to do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even the next podcast we should discuss more about that BBC article about how heartbreakingly lonely everyone is. The BBC did the thing you shared about and the biggest loneliness bracket is between young people between the ages of 17 and 30 or something like that.
Oh, really?
So these are the young people, and they are the most lonely statistically. So we're in a loneliness pandemic or epidemic at the minute. And I think that's just obviously a symptom of what you're talking about, how everyone, like society isn't really evolving with it becoming more advanced with technology and weapons and things like that. But actually, people are more lonely than they've ever been. They're sadder than they've ever been.
And I bet this social media's got a lot to do with it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think the BBC article was saying, I won't go into too much longer, but we can talk about this, but like social media, working from home, the fact that people used to get married a lot younger as well. They're saying like just the fact that you're having married and children, creating families a decade or more after.
Modern thinking now is children get in the way, you're career motivated, more material
it's an expensive
things.
hobby.
Yes. And they get in the way of what you want. But I'm sure that, especially with this social media, now they're starting to they'll have studies coming out after 10, 20 years, they'll see how much damage this is doing.
It's now banned in Australia, have banned social media for anyone under the age of 15 or something like that. Which is quite a revolutionary concept. And even the people who created the thing, social media and
Mark Zuckerberg,
have his
kids on it.
They don't have their kids on it.
Anyway. I seen the BBC article, and they were saying because children as young as they were saying 10, 12, because they have access on on these phones, the social media to porn, how they're objectifying young girls. They were because that's all they're seeing. Because you associate, it's really powerful what you associate with. Whatever you associate with, you become like. Association is like a crystal, isn't it? Where it'll reflect, like a mirror will reflect. Whatever you're seeing, it'll reflect onto you. So that's why we have to have spiritual, let's say, you have to have spiritual people teaching, showing us, okay, this is the problem. So that means there has to be examples so people can associate and become like. And that's what Ty Krishna is about. That's what Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON is for, is creating a society of God-conscious people where we can teach others and be with it in a more conducive to becoming happy.
And that's probably one of the last things we'll touch upon now is there's so much that we did achieve.
Well, I was just saying we're going to have to do we'll do a whole little video.
Send a video.
We'll send a video, a report. Yeah, it'll take a. Yeah, we've achieved a lot for the small. As we developing, we growing. You touched upon, the Rath Yatra. You can see when we first started, there was enough to where we're going to have enough to pull the cart. Now we have over like 1,000 people, between 500 and 750 and 1,000 people come through. If it's based upon what the amounts of plates of free food that we get, free prasada. So and it becomes a yearly thing. People are seeing it. We don't see them all year round, but they'll come for there's lots of just come for the fest. It's a festival. And it's interesting, they love the culture. They're not going to become sadhus, like come and join the temple, but they're people who appreciate. And there's lots, that's what spiritual life is about. We have this stereotype thing that we got to run off, like you said, a cold detachment, give everything up. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You just can chant and read. That's all you got to do every day. 20, 30 minutes of your time. Everyone can give that. And then you'll see the magic, then you'll feel it, you'll feel it's working. And then your faith will increase. Just like we have faith in science because my phone works, or like on my toaster, on my microwave. Yeah, look, science works because it's working for me. So you've got that faith. So if you take the time, which is a leap of faith, just to do some small practices in Krishna consciousness, you'll see it works. Then you'll have your faith. It'll increase. It's just a natural consequence. Adav Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. Because it comes from there, from faith is the beginning of everything. So you're taking that time just to, I'll invest a little bit, let's see where it goes. No one's asking you to run off and join the temples. And there's not many Prema Sagas around. They'll just walk up and say, I want to join. The other few, we're very wary of them, actually. Yeah. I'm very wary. Unfortunately, it is, because there's a lot of people don't even know what spiritual life is about, but there are some genuine people around. There are people who genuinely want to inquire into spiritual life, but it's so difficult because the energy is just really, you have so much opposition from society, from your work, from your family, from your friends. Everyone will just put pressure on you because you know what you're doing and it'll frighten you off. So we create and say, yes, it's okay, those feelings are natural, and because you're trying to figure out what life is all about. And when you have those, they shut down in the secular society. They shut you down. You think you're a misfit, you're an oddball, you're one of those Hare Krishnas. You're a bunch of misfits. Because that's so, Isn't people talk about death when I was a kid? Remember, all have a natural inquisitive mind in the child. What's death is about? I remember watching one of our cats die when I was a kid, and I was trying to figure out why they die and what's going on, And then immediately, we don't talk about death in the family. We don't talk about that subject. It's like, it's taboo. It's like, So you shut down immediately when you're a child. You shut down. Say, I don't ask those questions. That's just natural inquisitive child's mind, but it's shut down. So no, that's not healthy. You're not growing healthily. So that's what Ty Krishna is giving. And we have in Sunday schools, as we grow, we'll have facilities for kids to grow, to give them proper education, or at least to balance it. You have a material education, but with the spiritual, that's the balance. Getting it out to live. What did Christ say? Live in the world, but not to become worldly minded. Don't think you got to have material things. We got to work in the world, but don't think that's going to bring you the happiness that you're looking for. Only your spirit, your relationship with God, with Krishna, will bring that happiness that you're actually searching. You've got to do these other things, but don't, as they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because you're going to get, at the end of life, then what? So that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what... We're preparing for it. That's what that. As I say, it's like, when children have when you have a savings fund for when they grow. Whenever kids were this little post office account when I was a kid, they give me my 20 pence to go and put in it every week. I didn't get past the sweet shop most of the time, so not much went in. But the thing is you're investing in your child's future, You're investing in your child's future so that later on you can use that investment. You can use. So we are saying, but that's only for life. You're investing in your future, but beyond this body. It's an investment. Every time you chant Hare Krishna, every time you just read Bhagavad Gita, every time you come to Rath Yatra, every time you come to the calves, take some prasadam, you're investing in your future. But we don't see that. We're not taught like that. We're not shown like that. So we think, no, it's all gobbledygook and I'm just a bunch of chemicals. There's no purpose to life. But if that's what you think, then knock yourselves out. Then that's all you're going to get. So we are showing an alternative, and that's why the devotees are working so hard. They're really working hard to establish this. So everyone out there in La La Land, please come and help us. We need your help. We need your support to grow to give even more people the opportunity, so we can do wonderful things. If you have faith, as they say. Prabhupada said impossible. What did he say? Impossible is words in a fool's dictionary. So don't think you can't do it, or no, it's not for me and we'll never do it, then you won't. But if you think you can, please come along and help us.
Yeah, if anyone out there listening to this, get in touch.
Yeah. Please, come along. Just come and see us. Come and have some prasad. Just come and have prasadam with us. Just come and sit and talk and discuss these finer topics of life, which is what is, which.
Send us a message. We can arrange a one-on-one meeting with Tarakanatha Prabhu.
I don't know what that yet, but still. Yeah, but come and see the devotees. Come and see us, yes. And that's what we're opening. Our cafe in town is now open. Govinda's, and we're opening Govinda's now in Swansea. So you can, come and sit with the devotees. Come and say, I got this problem. How do I solve this problem spiritually? You're not going to get material answers, by the way. You won't pick up the Bhagavad Gita and say to Happy, you've got to work harder, buy more, work harder, go deeper, you've got to work hard, stronger. No, that doesn't guarantee your happiness. But if you want to find out the spiritual answer to your problems, we got the devotees have got the answer. Just come and inquire. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. You don't have to flounder on our own, having difficulties, and you can get help.
And like you said, there's so many lonely people struggling, trying to figure it out. And because they got into the social media, they don't know how to socially interact. Because they used to kind of, I never on social media, but what I mean, you can delete your friends, or I've just seen some report, kids growing up that don't have the social skills to deal, when someone rejects them, or someone, how to deal with it. You've got to handle rejection. We all get it when we're kids. It's part of growing up. It's called the school of life. Every kid gets it. You can't just run. When you have all this, you've got to go into school, you've got to confront it, but you've got the infrastructure to support there. You don't get, but if you're going to retreat into the, cyberspace, it's a lonely place for sure.
I wanted to share a quick quote before we finish because we did a talk at Govinda's last night about how to stop scrolling and how to avoid social media and these.
Oh, that's a big one, yeah.
So this is a quote. He wrote a book, and his name's Eric Fromm, and the book's called Escape from Freedom. So this is just a quote, and our tendency is to avoid the weight of purposeful choice by fleeing into distraction, conformity, or anything else that saves us from having to ask who we really are.
Who's that?
His name's Eric Fromm. So he wrote a book called Escape from Freedom. It's a social sort of study about how people get what they think is freedom, but they also then retreat into being told what
distraction.
To do.
That's exactly so. You're getting distracted,
and you can't deal with this sort of the deeper questions, so we escape into distraction. And then you just can get
110%. And that's what we do. Rather than figure out the purpose of life, we'll go scrolling and everything's okay, but you're not solving nothing. You're not solving the problem of life. Of why am I here? Why do I have to suffer? I don't want to suffer. Why do I? You don't have to. But we told us, why do I have to suffer loneliness? And it's a big thing. You don't have to. You come to one of our calves and we'll show you. Come and see the devotees. Come and speak to the devotees. It's a big thing.
Like you were saying about the question, sometimes kids ask questions, why do I have to die? And we say, oh no, we don't ask that around here. So then people become even scared of asking the question.
Yes.
So safer than just asking that question and go into some uncomfortable places. Yeah. You can escape into a screen somewhere.
Yeah. Come and ask your questions. And doubts means intelligence. It means you're thinking. Don't just follow blindly the roadmap that the Matrix is giving us. That's what we're doing, just following this. So you've got to wake up and smell the coffee.
Take the blue pill. Is it the blue pill?
I don't know.
Red pill.
It's a red pill, yeah. Don't take the blue pill.
Come to our calves and get the red pill. Yeah. He's doing a special discount offer at the minute.
Some red pills.
Buy one, get one free. So
the real drug dealers are the Ari.
Yeah.
Spiritual red pills. Okay.
It will give you ecstasy, but spiritual ecstasy, yeah. For sure. Absolutely for sure. And there's a money-back guarantee, by the way, if it doesn't work. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Krishna. Okay. I guess thank you, everyone, for listening.
Whoever you are.
Hope you like the setup. I think the new microphones sound good so far, the audio.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a nice little... So I think I would go into get a little bigger room, but, so you could have more sitting around the table in a more like back and forth rather than looking.
Just looking at our TV monitor here.
Yeah, but then you go back to Rupa's not even in the shot, which is a good thing, I guess. It can work to your advantage.
Yeah. So the screens don't crack at home.
Yeah.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namah Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shinyavari Pachacharya Satarini Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namah Om Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shinyavari Pachacharya Satarini Namaste Bo Nityananda Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Bo Nityananda Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo